Hey friends, happy Thursday, the 15th of September. It's nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill, priest at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'll give you a reflection on the daily readings. The readings are linked on the sidebar, and I invite you to read them prayerfully when I'm done, and then turn off your screen. Spend some time with God before you move on to other things. If you haven't registered for faith formation or sacramental preparation, certainly encourage you to do that. That's available through the website or call in the parish office. Classes start in about a week and a half, so if you're thinking about registering a young person, please don't overlook that. Today, the 15th of September, is the feast day of Our Lady of Sorrows, one of our two church buildings in Rock Springs. The first one here, dedicated in the 1880s, old clapboard church. It's a good opportunity for us to just take a moment and pray for the Catholics here in Rock Springs. Our first reading is from St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, then the Psalm 118. Those are both for the day, Thursday of the 24th week in Ordinary Time. And then if you're using the bishop's website, you see that then there's the medieval sequence, the Stabat Mater, a hymn devoted to Mary and her sufferings. And then we've got two options on a gospel, John's gospel and Luke's gospel. And I'll give you a brief reflection on each of those, all right? Starting with Paul to the Corinthians, you know that we've been working on this first letter of Paul to the Corinthians for several weeks. We're nearing the end of it. I don't know that I have a lot to say, but just to appreciate reading it here, the summation of the Christian faith that Paul provides, right? Encouraging the Corinthians, like, hey, remember, this is the stuff that's really important. The thing that probably jumped out at me as I prayed with this was Paul born as one abnormally, right? Like, just how crazy it is. And I don't appreciate it enough because the bulk of the New Testament, or at least the largest part of the New Testament, is written by Paul. And we can lose sight of how crazy it is that, this entire faith of the crucified criminal Christ, and then Paul the missionary who had previously persecuted the church and then becomes its great defender and great author, and the one who provides the vast majority of the inspired text of the scriptures. It is, how wonderful and marvelous of God to do as God has done. And so maybe you just pray with a little bit of Paul, born as one abnormally, born at a time, but to be mindful that God does strange things in this human story, and we give God permission to do whatever God desires this day, this Thursday. That Stabat Mater is a sequence. We have a handful of these still in the liturgy. Poetic hymns, epic poems that were written in the monasteries in the Middle Ages, especially dedicated to, liturgical feasts. And so you might want to pray through the Stabat Mater and find if that's helpful for you. Again, there are two Gospels. If you were at a Mass, they would choose one or the other. I'll give you a reflection on both. The second one is Luke's gospel, right? Your heart many swords will pierce. And that becomes then the foundation of this devotion, the seven sorrows of Mary. Perhaps as you pray with it, you're just aware of your own sorrows, the pain, the loss, the suffering of your own life. And with Mary and with all of the saints, you sit in the grace of God and you hold that. And you just sit with it like Mary. You hold all these things in your heart, trusting always that the God of reconciliation and resurrection is bringing it to its fruitfulness and its fruition. John's gospel, right? I've shared this before, but this is a poignant moment because Jesus is making sure that his mother is cared for from the cross. And we as church interpret this as not just the moment that Jesus makes sure that his mother is in the house of John or this beloved disciple, but that this is Jesus giving his mother to the community of faith, to the church. And so she becomes not just the mother of this beloved disciple, but our mother, our sorrowful mother. And so, the image of Mary weeping and sorrowful as her son is dying, is being executed by the government on the cross, as co-religionists are mocking and deriding him as he's breathing his last. And in one of his last concerns, he's making sure that his mother has someone to look after her and to take care of her. To just sit with that pain, to sit with that sorrow, and to trust that even in that, God is present. And if God's present there, God's present in all of the loss, suffering, pain, difficulties, crosses that we're experiencing as well. So, the feast of our sorrowful mother, may Mary and all the saints who have suffered be praying for us in these days. Read those readings prayerfully. Spend some time with God in quiet. God bless you, friends.